Hey there, and welcome on back. As always, I'm Carl with Target's Attitude, absent-minded professor of knives and all things sharp. So I'm back, grab your pens and paper, class is about to begin. Today, it's Monday, so it's knife basics, what you really need to know. And we're going to cover knife care. Yes, knife care, specifically cleaning and taking care of your knives. Doesn't sound like a big deal, but it can be. Why am I doing this? Well, when I was sick just recently, my wife decided to bring in a housekeeper once a week to try to keep the house from getting too bad, since obviously I couldn't do anything to help around the house. And unfortunately, this lady, she was great at cleaning and taking care of houses. I couldn't ask for better. But no one had never taught her how to take care of knives, and so she ran my good kitchen knives through the dishwasher. Huge mistake. Why? Well, we'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's get our syllabus work out of the way, shall we? If you're new to the channel, welcome. I do knife basics, what you need to know here on Mondays. Things like what I said we're talking about today, taking care of knives, all the ins and outs of knives, what the different handle materials are, what I mean by various terms, what is a scanty grind, what is a hollow grind, what is a drop point, what's a clip point, what is Damascus, what are the different types of knives. Basically, it's to help you get to know the terms so that when you're going to buy a knife for yourself, you're not going, yeah, what he said. For those of you who've been with us for a while, welcome back. As you know, I also do knife reviews on Fridays. Never know, you might occasionally find me doing a review of some piece of camping gear or what have you, but mainly knife reviews. And for all of you, I have just one question. Have you subscribed yet? Yeah, I am asking again, and I mean, as I keep telling you, it's so simple. Just click that silly button right down there that says subscribe, then hit the bell next to it. You're done. It's a win-win situation. You win because you know whenever I put a neat new video. I win because the more subscribers I have, the easier it is to get things to make neat new videos about. But on to knife care, shall we? Now, a lot of you are probably like this housekeeper and wondering what the big deal is about running your good kitchen knives through the dishwasher. And quite frankly, the table knives that make up your silverware probably can be without any problem. But when it comes to good knives like butcher's knives, paring knives, chef's knives, all that, it becomes a little different. I had thought I'd do a quick camera shot by putting one of those Go cameras with plastic case that's supposed to let you use it while scuba diving in the dishwasher, just to give you a first-hand view of what's going on. Problem is the dishwasher cracked the case, and when the case cracked, of course, water got in the camera, and now I've got to buy a new camera. So I don't have any video to show you. But think about it. If it is batting around the camera hard enough to crack the case, not a big crack, just a tiny one, then what is it doing to your knives? If your knives are right next to each other, they're getting batted against each other, and that's going to chip the blade. Even if they're not right next to each other. If they're hitting pots and pans, same thing. Chips in the blades, or at least dulling. Maybe some rolls. Even if they're set so they're not going to hit anything else, the racks of the dishwasher may have plastic coating on them, but underneath that plastic coating is metal. Knife hits that plastic coating a couple times, it cuts through, and then it starts hitting the metal underneath. Not good. Matter of fact, this one, you can even see some of the chips and some of the rust that is forming on it. as a result of being run through the dishwasher. Here's another problem. The handles. If it's one handle like this, well, these two knives are from the same company, same age, and have the same wood for the handles. But you notice how much darker this one that's never been through the dishwasher is compared to this one that's only been run through the dishwasher twice. This wood handle is starting to dry out. It's getting a little rough. I'm going to have to coat it with oil and get it back and conditioned before too long, or I'm going to have it cracking and breaking right off and possibly developing splinters that'll go into my fingers when I'm using it. And of course I'm going to have to not only profile the edge to get those chips out, I'm going to have to put on a buffing wheel to get rid of all that rust. And on this side, definitely not good. And it's not just wooden handles. Okay, this one is a custom knife that is actually very sweet. And again, it got run through the dishwasher. You can see the chip in there. You can see the start of rust in there. And as far as the handles, okay, that's Karenite. I don't know if you can see it too well. There we go. See all those scratches in there? That's from being run through the dishwasher and it banging up against things. There are no scratches on it when I bought this. The man who made it had that handle polished to a fare-thee well. But now we've got scratches galore on it. And let's see here, does there any scratches on this one that show up? Yep, you can see them right there. Just not good. So, how are you going to take care of your knives? Well, step number one, hand wash them. You can get the water plenty hot enough, and it's just a very gentle. I tend to use a no scratch sponge. You could use a bottle brush on them, and any good dishwashing soap will work. But hand wash them. Rest the blade on the counter or the sink when you're scrubbing it so that the blade doesn't wiggle. Rinse them, and then as soon as physically possible after washing them, dry them. Don't leave them to hand dry or air dry. Dry them with a good soft towel. Afterwards, you may want to put a food safe oil on the blade if it's trying to rust, or especially if it's a high carbon knife like my oldest butcher knife is. Occasionally you may want to send it out to be polished. And the handle. Well, I've run out, so I've got to, because I had used the last of it on a custom cutting board I had made to give away for Christmas. But they make oils especially for cutting boards. You can get them at Amazon. You can get them at Bed Bath & Beyond. Any good kitchen store, Williams-Sonoma. But you look for a food safe. I like to use walnut oil whenever possible. It'll be absorbed by the wood beautifully. It doesn't go rancid very quickly or easily. And once it's absorbed into the handle, it'll recondition your handle so that it won't get rough, it won't splinter, it won't crack, and it'll stay good looking. Very important. Other things you might want to do, you can see where there's a little bit of whiteness around the pins. Doesn't hurt to go in there with a pipe cleaner or something like that and remove some of that whiteness. That whiteness is normally the epoxy that was used to hold the pins in there, but you never know. And you can even see some of the shrinkage there. Can you see where the light is coming through beside the blade? Where the handles aren't quite matching up against the tang? Again, that's because of shrinkage from the wood, because it's been washed in. Another possibility, and some will argue with me on this one, including some knife makers. But another possible problem with running your knives through the dishwasher, especially if you're like my family, since I just was sick, we use Santa rinse, which heats the water up even higher. Admittedly, unless someone's tinkered with your machine, the water's not going to be heated above 160, and it's probably going to be closer to 140. But that's still pretty damn hot. And as I said in the video about knife steel, most important part of any knife is the heat treat. If you don't treat it properly, all you've got is a nice looking metal stick. Well, if you continually heat the blade up and let it cool down, and heat it up again and let it cool down by continually exposing it to 150 to 160 degree water, you are going to slowly leach the heat treat out of your blade. It's going to take a while. It's not like you stuck it in the oven and heat it up to 500 degrees and then let it cool down, which is actually one of the things they'll do for tempering the metal after it's been heat treated. They'll put the metal blade, before they even put the handle in it, in a special heat treating oven, and they'll run it up to anywhere between 400 degrees and 600 degrees, depending on the type of metal used. Normally it's right around 450. They'll heat it up, keep it at that heat for anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour, and then they'll let it cool down slowly, and they'll do it again. And the idea is to draw a little bit of the temper out of the knife so that it's still hard but not brittle. Well, okay, 150 degrees is not going to do that anywhere near as fast as 450. But over enough time, it will do it. And the more you draw the heat treat out of that knife, the more you soften it that way, the faster it's going to dull, and the faster, more often you're going to need to sharpen it. Another thing you can do, and this applies to any knife, whether it's pocket knife or kitchen knife or hunting knife, is after you've cleaned the knife properly, go ahead and put a thin coat of oil on the blade. For kitchen knives, you can use mineral oil. It is food safe. Matter of fact, they used to use mineral oil as a form of mild laxative. So you don't want to get too much on the blade, but you're just looking to put a very, very light coating on that can almost be wiped off with one pass of paper towel or kitchen towel. Just enough to help keep it from rusting. And you can do this for your pocket knives and the like also. With them, you don't necessarily have to use food safe oil. If you want, you can use 3-in-1 oil, which is available at any hardware store out there. Ace Hardware, Home Depot, Lowe's, you name it. If it's a hardware store, they'll have it somewhere. And some of the grocery stores and some of the convenience stores, drugstores, all those. It's very common stuff. If you're having problems with things freezing up, and this is more for pocket knives, say something like this, which I still need to put on a buffing wheel, but there's a little bit of nastiness down in there. Again, 3-in-1 oil will take care of it, or let me see if I can find it. I had it right here, but my wife may have moved it while I was sick. Let me look. Just give me 1 second here. Okay, I'm back. What I want to show you is this. It's called Knife Pivot Lube, or KPL. And this is the heavy stuff. They've got a regular stuff. Admittedly, this stuff is a little expensive, but it is absolutely, bar none, the best oil I've found for when your knife is getting gunked up. You just drop a few drops of oil in that pivot point there. And then just work your blade back and forth a little bit. I don't know if you could hear the scratch, scratch, scratch of the gunk in there, but man, it's so much nicer already. How about the main blade? Yeah, that main blade's not bad, but it's kind of rough. Oh, that one's horrid. That is absolutely horrid. There you go. Right like that. And look at how fast that smooths out that pivot. Say, you could have used 3-in-1 oil. It would have done the job, but not as fast and not as nicely. But in the end, it's up to you. I mean, let me double check. I don't currently I can talk. I don't currently carry this because I've been having some I've been concentrating on other things really. But let's see here. I know Amazon carries it, so let's see how much it is. Yeah. It's $14 for the regular stuff to get one bottle of about, what is it? I'm trying to see how much it is, but a little over an ounce anyway. You can get a 2-pack of this, the heavy stuff as well as the regular stuff, for $30. I think it's worth it. But I know a lot of people won't agree with me. And as I say, 3-in-1 oil will do just as well. So, but that's the short, sweet and rough of it. I hope you got something out of this. It's a little basic, I admit, but I consider trying to do this and sharpening at the same time, but that would have given me a video way too long. So I'll do a video on sharpening later on. In the meantime, I wish you all luck. I hope you come along for the ride. I'll leave you with a couple videos over here that you might enjoy. And of course, there's always the target over here that you can use to subscribe if you want. I hope you do. And we'll see you next week. Bye now.